I want to talk today about expedited removal and dismissing of immigration proceedings against people in court and what's been happening with that. So what we're seeing is, this is happening with people with lawyers as well, but it's happening a lot with people who go pro se, meaning going without lawyers. Immigrants show up to court without a lawyer, with an asylum application pending. The government shows up to court and says, we would like to dismiss the removal proceedings against the person. The judge then asks the person, do you want us to dismiss the removal proceedings against you, the immigration proceedings? And the people get really happy because they think, oh, okay, like I don't have to go to court anymore, and they agree. That's a mistake, because what ends up happening immediately after is that they are arrested by ICE officers who are standing very often right outside the courtroom or downstairs, and they are detained and are placed into what's called expedited removal proceedings, meaning there's no more seeing a judge. You have to ask to have a credible fear interview, and if you pass the interview, you will then be allowed to proceed with your case, but very oftentimes you will still remain detained throughout the entire time that you have your case is pending. So important that this is not the time not to have a lawyer represent you in court. This is definitely not a time to try to do this yourself. However, if you are doing this yourself, if there's no other option, and you're finding yourself in immigration court by yourself, and an immigration judge is asking you, do you want the proceedings against you dismissed? Do you want us to terminate removal proceedings? You have to say no, because this is not a good thing. It only sounds like a good thing. If you end up in court, I obviously can't advise you to represent yourself, but if you are in this situation, you must tell the judge, Your Honor, do not dismiss my case. If you have an asylum case pending, you must say, I'm afraid to go back to my country of wherever you're from. I need to have protection here. I have an opportunity. I need to be afforded an opportunity to be heard. And you dismissing this case is essentially depriving me of this opportunity, meaning I will not be able to get a chance to present my case to you and get the protection under the law. If the judge still dismisses your case, my suggestion is you ask for an appeal. You reserve a right to file an appeal. And after that, you really do need to speak to a lawyer. Again, I can't advise you to do this on your own, but if you find yourself in a situation where nothing else, there's no other option, do not let the government or the judge dismiss your case. At least don't agree to it.